and welcome to Thrive Solutions. Let's see a short demo regarding how to create DAX measures and steps to create different calculation types. As we know, the calculated columns, the calculated measure, and calculated table. So in today's session, we'll be seeing these topics. So let's see a demonstration how to create columns, how to create a measure, and how to create a table. So this is the page of a Power BI desktop. So once I click on this blank report, where it gets open, where you can see the modeling ribbon. This is the canvas report page, and you have different views appearing, and you have visualization and the field panel. So just we need to get the data. So using an example of an Excel book, let's get the data. The data source as Excel workbook. And from this Excel workbook, I'll be selecting regarding the employee information. So once I click on this, so we get the data getting loaded with an option with the Excel sheet name and the employee information. So once I click on the employee information, where you can view all the data fields value with the column names and the column values. So once I click on the transfer data, a pop-up window gets opened as a Power Query editor, where you can add a column, remove a column, or you can fill the null values and make sure all the data cleaning and data processing is done here. So you have an option where you can add a column through this method. So as we can see, the employee ID, the first name, last name, date of birth, income, department, and employee name. So I would like to add a column where I would like only the first letter of the employee name should get reflected. So to this, just highlight on this employee name. Once I highlight on this, I go with an option as add a column. In this add a column, I go with the option as extract. And in this extract, I will select the option as first character. So first character, once I click, I get a count. So how many characters you would like to split. So I would like to go with the one count. So if once I click on this OK, you can see the first character of the employee name got created over here by adding a new column. So I would like to rename this letter. So you have an option where you can go with the rename. So renaming as employee first letter. Okay, once I've created, you can see how we can add a column and how you can rename it. So once I have done it, once you go with the home page, you have an option where you need to close and apply. Once you close and apply on this, the data is getting loaded. Once the data is getting loaded, a pop-up window will appear where you can see how the data is getting loaded, and it shows how many rows of data is available and what is the bytes. So we can see there are 66 rows of data being available, and this data after getting loaded, it reflects at the field panel at the left hand side of the desktop. You can see the employee name, employee information, the Excel sheet has been loaded. Once I click on this, you can see the different columns be reflected as we have created the employee first letter where it got created. So once I click on this data view or the table view, you can see where the data and the column which we have created, it gets reflected. The other option is you have an option where you can click on here. Once you click the data at the data view or table view, you have an option where you can click here, and where it gets added, where a new column gets added over here. So this is the other option where you can see of the data, and you can give it some data value or whatever with the filter name. You can replace the column name. What all detail would you like to have? Okay, so for example, so I will give this column name as some as employee salary. Okay, so employee salary is got created. Okay, if you want to give some data, we need to put some random data over here. Okay, the other option is, how do you create a measure? To create a measure, you have a number of options. One is on the home ribbon. Once you click on this new measure, you have an option where the measure gets open, or else you have the other option. Once you click on the right click on the employee information and employee information, you have an option where you can click it, create a measure from here. The other option is, once you hover over or right click on the particular department, where you have an option to create a measure. So these are the different options. So now let me create a new measure. So here I would like to know the employee count. So what is the employee count when you don't have an idea what is the count of the Excel sheet? There where we can create, I create a field as employee count, and I go with the counting logic function where I give as count rows. In this count rows, where I would like to know the complete data of the employee information. So I'm selecting the table of employee information. So once I select and once I click on this, you can see the employee count field has been created. So I would like to know what is the count of this. So from the visualization panel, I've selected the card, and now I will drag this employee count. So it's giving the employee count. So this is the employee count where I can see. So the difference between the calculated measures and the calculated columns is both the fields gets reflected at the field panel. But when you click on the data table or data view or a table view, you can't see the field which you have generated using calculated measures. The employee count is not reflected, whereas the created calculated columns get reflected of the first letter of the employee's salary. So this makes the difference between two, the calculated measures and the calculated columns. Next, how do you add a table? So once the other option to add a table is, once you click on the table tools, you have an option to click on the new table. So once you click on this new table, where you have an option, you can rename this as employee data. The table name is employee data, and it gets created where you can see the employee data got created. And if you want to add some columns, you can just rename this column by providing the information. Rename this column name as salary or date of joining, date of joining. So here you can see the column got added as date of joining. So these are the different types of calculation types where we have seen in a demonstration way. Thank you all so